today's topic is the squish the bug concept. So if you guys have been taught to squish the bug during your swing, which basically means when you're swinging, your back foot is taught to turn, I'm going to teach you a way to avoid that concept because it may actually be inhibiting your swing incredibly. Okay, so tune in, hang in with me. If you don't agree with something, let me know in the comments. We can talk it out. Like, I want to talk the game with you. This is the whole point of doing these lives. I love learning things from you, and I'm going to teach you the things that I've learned. So, you don't become a 400 hitter in the Big Ten if you do not have a pretty good concept of the swing. And what I love to teach is the swing. So today I'm going to talk to you about that. So if you were taught, like I was, by the way, to squish the bug with your back foot, I'm going to tell you right now why I don't agree with that. I don't agree with the squish the bug concept because you are strictly rotational in your swing and you are not driving your power to the ball if you do that. You take the long route to the ball. So I like to explain the squish the bug is almost like you're swinging like a helicopter. And you don't want to swing like a helicopter. You don't want your arms to get extended too early and just go in a circle. Okay, we don't want that because one, there's only one pitch you're going to be able to hit pretty hard, and that's the outside pitch. You get thrown a high and inside pitch and you have that helicopter swing, you might lose a limb on your arm. Okay, that's very dramatic, but you do not want to be out and away with you with your arms. You want to be short and compact and think linearly when you are taking your power to something. So if my job is to take my power straight to the ball, I cannot become rotational and get around the ball because that's the long route to the ball. The goal is to get from point A, which is where your hands are, to point B, which is where the ball is, as fast as possible. And the way that you do that is if you think about driving from the inside part of your back foot, AKA, I always say your big toe, but it's really just the ball of your foot, not like the toe itself. But the ball of your foot is what you want to have a ton of pressure in on your load. So you can think about driving that power directly into the ball. When you're going to the ball, your job is to get there as fast as possible, right? Your job is to get to the ball as fast as possible. And if you are rotational and you're thinking about pushing your weight instead of driving your weight, you are therefore probably going to top over a lot of balls, or your head's going to raise and your barrel's going to drop and you're going to hit the ball straight in the air. Our job is to get behind the pitch and be able to get through it, right? Our job is to be able to use the ground to help us provide power. You can probably get a bunch of singles and maybe an occasional double if you don't use the ground the way you should, but I don't think any athlete out there doesn't want to try for triples and home runs if they can. So if you want to hit more triples, home runs, or even just doubles straight into the wall, or just really hard singles, just automatic hits, this is something you need to take seriously. You need to be able to think, drive from your back big toe, drive from the ball of your foot. Because if you can do that and you can turn your hips fast and then follow with your hands, you're going to be so fast through the zone. Your arms are going to feel like they do nothing, and you're going to be successful. Ideally, what we want to make happen is get to point A to point B as fast as possible. That's our job. Get from point A, hands, point B as fast as possible. Okay. The way we do that is we stay on a line and we work up the middle. So let's say both these cameras are my pitcher. If I'm trying to get from point A to point B, by the way, these are some of my training shirts. That's why it looks funny. If we're trying to get there as fast as possible, just throwing your hands to that position, you're going to be slow. Okay. If you're just trying to use your arms to snap through the ball, sure, I can be pretty fast here, but I can be so much faster if I let my legs lead me. Okay. And if you're driving from your legs and you're working up the middle, which is every mentality that worked for me had something to do with driving the ball up the middle. And the way you drive the ball up the middle is not being rotational, not being turning of your hips, but driving your hips and keeping your head still. So if you focus on driving your hips and working up the middle, you are going to be more successful as a hitter. You're going to be able to stay inside on the inside pitch more. You're going to be able to get through an outside pitch so much better instead of just topping the ball or shooting up in the air with a pop-up, okay? So really realize that squishing the bug concept is not good. You do not want to squish the bug, because if you're squishing the bug, you're opening up your hips right away and you just lost any power you could possibly have on the outside pitch. And I know nobody wants that. Nobody wants to lose their power on any sort of a pitch. So why limit yourself and become rotational when you can be linear when it comes to power and then rotational after you've made contact, okay? And I know, so some people are probably going to be like, what the heck is linear and rotational? Some people ask me, do you teach linear or do you teach rotational? I teach both. I teach you're driving your power up the middle, but you have to connect your lower half and your upper half. And yes, that in itself is a type of torque in that it's kind of rotational. You have to be able to drive your legs and then your arms go. Your core is involved tremendously. So I don't want to get too deep into the swing because I know the squish the bug concept is more lower half than anything, but I hope this is making sense that you need to work linearly where your power is going and allow the rotation of your core to let your arms go through the zone as fast as possible. So if you are an athlete or you are a parent that's with your daughter, maybe watching right now, think about this and maybe watch some video together. I think this would be huge if you guys could do this with your parents. Have your parents take some video of your swing and look and see what's happening with your back foot. If you see your back foot and you are turning and driving that, like I said, the ball of your foot, of your big toe, if your weight's on the inside part of your foot, your knees on the inside part of your foot, and you're able to get through it really strong, then you realize that you're kind of pushing the ground away from your back foot. And that's what we want. We want to think about pushing the ground away, create some space, drive from your big toe, drive from that back foot into the ball. But if you realize that you're turning and your heel is actually going in a rotational, like around you and behind you, this is very hard to show you without actually like showing you, and you can't see my feet. So if you see that your heel is just like bailing out and your whole entire, it's almost like your ankle's rolling when you swing, then it's pretty obvious that you're probably turning and trying to squish the bug more than you're trying to drive from the ground. Okay. And I will tell you that if you guys even see my logo on my t-shirt, which I'll show you real quick. I'm just showing you the t-shirt because it's right next to me. Or I guess you could look on here. But this one's a little bigger. But if you see my back foot, it looks like I'm turning and I'm rotational, but ideally my heel itself, hopefully you guys can see this, the heel itself, it's not overturned. It's really just stacked right above my ankle. And because of that, I'm balanced and my weight's on my big toe. So when I feel like I'm hitting the ball as hard as I possibly can, I'm getting through a good pitch. If you were to see where I finish, you guys will notice that like I'm sitting in my back hip and my back leg and my head is over my back knee. So do you guys see that? Hopefully you can see that. So what I'm going to challenge you to do, if you did not watch professional softball this weekend, it was on ESPNU. It's actually going to be on, I believe, even tonight. I think it's at 8 p.m. Eastern, so it's probably in 30 minutes or so. They're going to be on CBS Sports Network, I believe. I'm not positive on this, but it's called Athletes Unlimited. It's some of the best softball players in the world. Kat Osterman. I think there's like 6 USA players playing, tons of Florida Gators, tons of Oregon players, some Texas players, just people from everywhere are playing professional softball right now, and it's on TV. I advise you to go watch those players and watch what they look like, okay? Don't analyze the swing and the miss where, yes, they're going to look like they're rotational because maybe they missed it and they lost their balance, but look at the best swings. Look at the best hits. A lot of times they'll show those swings in slow motion, which is the perfect opportunity to really zone in on a specific area. If you feel like you are a little too rotational and you want to learn from some of the best, go watch professional baseball, professional softball, or just go on YouTube and look it up, because there are so many amazing things you can learn from the best swings. So swings that I like to watch from a baseball standpoint, Chris Bryant, Javi Baez, love watching them. Rizzo, great stuff. They learn how to drive from the inside of their back foot. Other hitters in the pro league in softball, Sammy Fagan, love her. She's playing in this. I thought I lost Instagram again. I was going to get so mad. She's also playing in Athletes Unlimited. Who else? Sam Fisher, amazing. She has a great swing. She actually jacked a home run the other day. Taylor Edwards is incredible. Take some notes of these players And even if you can't watch them live, just look up those athletes and look them up on YouTube. These, like, every single one of their swings, I guarantee, is on YouTube somewhere. And I want you to break it down and analyze it and try to get your swing to look like that and see what they're doing and try to make that happen for you. That's some of the best ways, honestly, to learn is by watching. I'm going to read some comments here. So Travis Baird said, I coach the wording unhinge the back foot. So when it comes to hinging, I always think of the hinging from the hip, because when you do RDLs or back squats or anything, you're really like hinging your hips, especially deadlifts. You're in a good hinge. So when I talk about hinging, I talk about the hip, but I've never thought about it with the back foot. I'm going to like think about that and see how my athletes react. One of my athletes is his daughter. So we'll see how that works. That's exciting. Brad Fuller, front half goal is to push back and resist so you don't get on your front foot, correct? I see so many girls do this. Ideally, the goal is to use your front foot, yes, as a resistance. So if you guys see my front foot here in my swing, you'll see how it's straight, but I'm telling you, it's not locked out. There's a difference between a straight leg and a locked out leg. You don't want to be locked out because that's how we hurt ourselves. That's how we hurt our knees. So realize that, yes, you want a very, very strong resistance in your front foot. One coach I've heard say this before said, you almost want your front leg to be like the brakes of the car. So you're taking all of this power from your back hip and you're driving it into your front leg, and you want your front leg to be a strong resistance so you can use the ground, create some torque, and get into the ball. So Brad Fuller, that's a really, really awesome comment. I love that so much. Towards the ball and lose their power and weight on front foot. Yeah. So ideally, when you're at your great contact position and extension, I'm again showing you my hat, you want to be with your weight in the center of your body. So my head's over my back knee and I'm nice and strong. By the way, I did not plan to wear this hat for this live, but here we are. So that's where you want to be. So yes, when you drive, you want your weight to be in the center of your body at contact and through. And your front leg allows you to be that resistance. And you don't want to put your weight into your front leg. Because again, Brad, good comment, is if you're pushing your weight in your front leg, that's how my head starts getting in line to where my contact point was. And now I can't even see the ball hit the bat. So if you want to stay behind the ball, you have to be able to drive and get the ball out in front. And in order to do that, you have to be centered and in your body. I worked with an athlete today, and she's focusing on keeping her weight in the center at contact and through instead of pushing her weight into her front foot, which again, if you're pushing and you're not driving from the ground up, you're not getting as much power as you could be into the ball. So that's a really, really good point. So I want to actually answer a couple of questions that people were asking me earlier. And this actually has nothing to do with hitting. But it has everything to do with mental game. And I think it's really crucial to talk about this stuff. So first of all, one athlete asked me about the fact that she has a teammate that's talking bad behind her back. And I know for a fact every athlete has been a part of this in some way, shape, or form. Sorry, girls, but it's just how girls are sometimes. I've had plenty of athletes talk bad about me because, either I was doing really great or really bad. Somebody always has something to say. So if somebody's talking bad behind your back, and I'm going to get to you, Brad, here in a second. If somebody's talking bad behind your back, the best thing you can do is rise above and pretend like it's not even there, or that person's not even there. Because if you try to get involved or share your thoughts right away, they want that. They want you to come back at them and try to fight them. Not fight physically, but fight them in some sort of battle, verbal battle. So the best thing you can do is rise above it. And, you can walk away and pretend like it doesn't happen, which is what I said. But I think what's even more powerful and it's going to make you stand taller is if you go up to them and you say, hey, I don't love what you're saying. It makes me feel awful what you're saying. And there's no way we're going to win as a team if we are talking about each other like this. And it's straight up facts. If somebody's gossiping behind your back, somebody else is probably listening and learning all these things too. And therefore nothing good is happening and your team's probably not going to win. So if you want to go up to that teammate and really do something about it, you can say, hey, there's no way we're going to win if we're talking about each other's behind each other's backs. There's no way that's going to happen. So the best thing you can do is rise above it. And I know it's hard to not let it affect you, But I will tell you that whoever is talking bad about you is probably, and I'm speaking from the heart here, they're probably a little jealous of things that you're up to. If you're crushing it in certain areas of your life, there are always going to be people talking bad about you. Just how it is, okay? The higher I got in this game, the more smack I had to deal with. So realize that when people are talking bad about you, it's probably because you're doing something right. So learn that, rise above it. Hey, and if it's a teammate, say, hey, we're not going to win if you're talking bad about me. I'm not going to talk bad about you, but we probably won't win if this is going to keep going on. And you can be straight up front with them. And I would say that's how you rise above that person.